everyone, it's Annie. Welcome back to Bloom TV for the third of these pre-filmed videos, and today I am going to do a non-spoiler review of Illusions of Fate by Kiersten White. So yeah, no spoilers in this video, so if you haven't read this and you're interested in reading it, then watch on. And this is a YA fantasy standalone novel which was published in September 2014. And it's written by Kiersten White, who is a YA American author, and it settles around the premise of this completely separate world. So it's kind of epic fantasy, high fantasy I'd rather say. It kind of fits into that genre, and it's about a girl called Jessamine who comes from the island of Malai, which has basically been colonised by another land called Albion. And I think that's how you say it, Malai, and she is actually mixed race. Her mother was from Malai, and her father was from Albion, a kind of visiting professor to Malay or Malai. I'm just going to stick with Malay for this video. And she has actually travelled to Albion without her mother, on her own, to study at school there, and she's very much was brought up in the culture of Albion because they colonised her island, and she basically goes to this country and gets embroiled in this kind of magical political battle between two members of the nobility, Lord Ackley and Lord Downpike, and it is a fantastic novel. It deals with a lot of important issues, I think, and I really loved Jessamine as a character. First of all, she is actually a woman of colour, she's mixed race, and I think that's fabulous that we get. I know that this shouldn't be a problem, but it is. We don't get diverse characters in YA lit, and I think that was fabulous in itself. And it basically is very reflective of colonisation. Albion is actually an old term for Great Britain, i.e. the country where I'm from, and basically it's kind of reflective of that Victorian period where the British Empire was expanding under the reign of Victoria I, and was colonising all these kind of areas in like maybe the Caribbean, and that began in kind of the 1700s, but it kind of was really expanding in like under Victoria's reign, and also like areas of Africa, India of course, and that is not something that I think Britain should be proud of at all, because basically conquering countries isn't cool. And I don't really know much about colonisation, but this book was very reflective of that, and it was definitely dealt with that, and it also dealt with racism as well. I think it wasn't a main theme of the book, but it was definitely there and dealing with it, and I thought it was really done very well. And I also think this had very strong feminist undertones, and that was fabulous. It was really well done. Jessamine was an excellent character. She didn't want to be caged in a box by anybody, and people were trying to protect her, but she just wanted to be her own person with her own agenda and kind of in control of that, and that's what she wanted. And I think she was brilliant, and she really stuck to that throughout the book, as well as having character development in other areas, and I really liked that about her. I think she's now one of my favourite characters. She's very sassy and witty and clever, but she kind of really stuck to her own beliefs of being the way that she wanted to be and not being controlled by society or a particular person, and that was excellent. And I also really liked this book for the fact that it had a really great female friendship in it between Jessa, or Jessamine, which is her full name, and another girl, Eleanor, who is a member of the nobility. And that was a really good friendship. They were quite different, but very witty and clever, and Eleanor was an excellent minor character. She kind of was very underestimated by her uncle and other males in society because of perhaps what she outwardly showed that she was interested in, but she was so clever and shrewd and like knowledgeable, and just had her own way of completing her own agenda under the kind of societal norms, and that was fabulous. And I just love that presentation of women, and like the contrast between the two characters and their friendship was just so well done. I really enjoyed that, and I just would probably ramble about this book forever. There's also a kind of love interest called Finn, who is the Lord Ackley, the aforementioned one, who Jessamine gets embroiled in this like magical war between him and Lord Downpike, and it's kind of political as well. And Finn was a really excellent character as well. I think he also went through really good character development. I think he had a really interesting history. And he was just really nice. I really loved him as a character. He was just excellent, and him and Jessamine have this really witty banter which is so reminiscent of Will and Tessa in The Infernal Devices. Like, this is actually was basically compared, there's somewhere I read, I think it was on GOODREADS, someone that basically it was kind of branded as Cassandra Clare with Downton Abbey. I'm not sure I'd agree with the Downton Abbey part, but definitely that kind of witty banter that you get in Cassandra Clare's novels is definitely present in this. I really enjoyed that element of it. Actually, there's a right at the very beginning, there's something Jessamine says, I was going to find this one section, and she's just very witty and knowledgeable, and I just really like that about her. I won't read you a section because I found it, but then I was like, no, that doesn't really show off her character like the way I thought it had, but this is really excellent. I just think the themes it dealt with were excellent, and I don't really know what to compare it to, but if you do enjoy The Infernal Devices like I did, it's one of my favourite series, then I'd really recommend this. And kind of any book with feminist undertones, I'd recommend it if you kind of enjoy reading about that. What else? It is kind of very reflective of history, and people have described this as historical. It isn't. It takes place in a completely fictional world, but it is very, very reflective of Britain, and kind of America's, like, kind of that Western colonisation. It's very reflective of that. I think, as an unknowledgeable person, I thought I kind of got that from the novel. And it's just an excellent book, and I'd really recommend it. Also, it has like the most beautiful cover. I know there's also been people commenting on the fact that it's kind of, the publishers whitewashed this, and the cover, which I also thought when I first saw it, because she is of mixed race, and it doesn't, you kind of can't really see that from the front cover, but Kiersten White's actually addressed that on her blog, so go read that blog post if that's something interesting, because that kind of began from what I can understand, quite a big discussion, and I think it's important that we talk about things like that, and kind of, I think it's an important issue. Yeah, I just can't really say any more about this without rambling, but if you've read this, then let me know, because I feel like it's not really had much attention, especially on, like, blog, like, I feel like I haven't really seen it on anyone's blogs, I haven't really seen it much of it on YouTube. I know Katie Tastic really loves this book, so props to her, that's actually where I found out about this from. But if you've read this, let me know, and if you want to read it or have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you all soon for another video. Bye!